popping, everybody? First is foremost, as always, I extend my utmost fraternal love and respect to all of you and hope this video finds you residing within the highest of spirits and doing well on this beautiful morning. So, before I continue, I just want to say thank you to all the new subs, man. They're shooting up, and I really appreciate it. If you have not, please smash that like button. It's free, it helps us get in the algorithm. If you have not subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button and the all notification bell. So anytime I drop content, you'll be notified of it. And let's go ahead and get into this story. This is a deep one today, guys. And I think it needs attention. Um, in life, we all experience hardships, we all experience pain, trauma. All of us go through different things in life, some worse than others. And it's not a pissing contest to see who had the worst life and who experienced the most hardship and pain. It's about getting through it, um, and never giving up, never making that permanent decision for a temporary problem. You never want to do that. Um, and that brings us into this story today. Um, I was in the hole in ASU, and a good friend of mine, Leroy, was also back there. And I was in C section lower, and he was in B section upper. And if you stood at my door and looked through the crack of my cell door out the side, you could see perfectly into Leroy's cell. And so, like when we were fishing or anything like that, like I had a clear sight of vision to his cell. And I was sleeping one night, and my cellie woke me up. It was like 2 a.m. He's like, "Hey, Joey." And I wake up, man. You never wake somebody up in prison when they're sleeping, man. So when somebody wakes you up like that, it's kind of it's not alarming, but it kind of pisses you off a little bit, to be honest with you, right? Especially I'm in the hole. I don't really know this dude that well, but he wakes me up and he's like, "Hey, I'm sorry, but Leroy, I think Leroy killed himself." And I'm like, "What? What?" I get down, and I'm fucking trying to wake up and make sense of what he just told me. And I get over to the door, and sure enough, there's my friend Leroy hanging from the vent. And Leroy had gotten a visit that weekend, and we didn't know it, but he got bad news. He had life. He was never getting out, didn't have much hope. And he decided to go ahead and make a permanent decision to a temporary problem. And I've seen many people at this point take their own lives in prison, right? In many different ways. I did a video on Mono's hands. If you haven't seen it, it will be at the end of this video. You can click on it and watch it. But Leroy was different. In one, that he was a friend of mine, that I considered him a friend. But not only that, in the way that his situation and his suicide was handled, and the lack of respect handled for that man. So naturally, I'm stuck at the door. I can't stop, watching what's going on. I want to make sure that they're dealing with this situation the way they should. And they're not. They're being real rough with him. And when they cut him down from the vent, they allowed his body to hit the sink in the toilet real hard and weren't supporting his body like they should have been. And the thing that really messed me up the most is you have the Sally Port entrance and exit that is underneath the gun tower. So the gun tower can open the Sally Port and let you through. And that's like the main entrance or exit from the building. And then you have a side door on each side. You have A side and C side doors, right? And since I was in C section, they rolled Leroy by my cell to go out C section door. And they didn't even cover this man with a sheet. They didn't even give this man the dignity of covering him with a sheet. All he had was boxers on. And words cannot express what his eyes looked like when they rolled him by my cell. And to this day, those eyes are burned into the back of my head. And to this day, I still have nightmares where I wake up and I'm looking at Leroy's eyes. To one, treat a man's body with so much disrespect, but to not even cover a man. Have the decency to cover a man with a sheet. And you know why they didn't cover that man with a sheet? Because they wanted all of us to see it. They wanted us to see that. They want us to hurt. They want us to feel some kind of way. They want us to be uncomfortable. That's just the reality of it. A lot of it is job security. Let's make sure these dumb criminals keep coming back so we have a job. So our union stays strong, and because a lot of them, they don't care. That's just facts. They could give two shits about anybody in there. You know, they just added rehabilitation to the name of the California Department of Corrections just recently. Just years ago. And that was only because they got sued. And the federal government had to step in because of the overcrowding, the malfeasance, the complete uh, lack of concern and rehabilitation of men that are in their care and custody. But not only that, I can't tell you, I've seen 2 wardens taken out in handcuffs from 2 different prisons for embezzlement. Get that, embezzlement. So we're dealing with corruption. And you can see that it's evident when you have a situation like Leroy taking his life and the way they treated his body, the lack of respect. It's obvious they don't respect anything about us, inmates, convicts, whatever you want to call it. Now, there are good ones that just come in there and do their job and go home, and they ain't there to harass anybody or mess with anybody. But there's a lot of people that are there because, I don't know, they got picked on, they were bullied, I don't know. And they act like assholes. And then they cry when something happens, you know? But Leroy was a good guy. He had a hard life, like many of us. Was brought up in poverty, had a very dysfunctional family, suffered from addiction, all those things that we all go through in life. He dealt with it. He had it. He suffered from it. And he went on that visit and he got news that he didn't want to hear. And it was so bad that it caused him to braid up sheet and to weave it through his vent and to take his life. You know, I'm going to put something up on the screen here, guys. And I plead and beg. I understand what it's like to experience pain, trauma. I just had to bury my own son. I understand. But please know that making a decision that's going to be forever for something that may go away soon with some work, some due diligence, some talking, maybe some therapy, whatever the case may be. But I plead with you, please, never make a permanent decision for a temporary problem. And if you ever need somebody to talk to, please just dial 988 and somebody will be there to help you. Or reach out to somebody, please. Please reach out to somebody and know that you're not alone. Know that you're not alone. Know that there's a lot of people that feel the way you do. And sometimes look at it like that may be the only answer. But we have to remember that it's not. There's more to life than that. And every time I see Leroy's eyes, it reminds me that much more of how devastating that would be to my loved ones and to those that care about me if I was to ever make such a permanent decision. I'll never forget his eyes, how black they were, the blood vessels, the emptiness. If you're watching this, man, and you're heading down a path of destruction, addiction, if you're heading down a path of gangs because you're seeking some type of camaraderie or brotherhood, I'm letting you know it doesn't go anywhere in life and it doesn't mean anything. And all it's going to do is cause you more and more pain and trauma and take away from you years and years that you can't get back. Take away from this the fact that a man who chose to go down that path and live that life that some may be thinking of going down or may even already starting to go down, he chose that life. He chose it and it gave him a life sentence. Not only did it give him a life sentence, the end result was it took his life. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. What is worth it is doing the right thing, the hard thing, and that's working, getting a job, taking care of your family, providing, being there for the people that need you. That's what's important. That's what matters in life. The legacy that you leave behind is what matters. What people say about you after you're gone is what matters. And you're not going to find camaraderie and love in gangs and in prison and in drugs. It's just not going to happen. I've been there. I've tried it. It doesn't work. I've tried it. I've lived it. It doesn't work. All it does is make you realize the hypocrisies, the lies, the misinformation, the deceit. It just makes you realize how many snakes are in the world, how ugly it can be, the lengths that people will go to feed those habits. There's nothing nice about it. And again, the end result is either going to be prison or, like Leroy experienced, death. And Leroy, if you see this, man, if you can hear me, man, I just want you to know I love you, brother. And I'm sorry that you felt that that was the only choice that you had. And I hope that you're in a better place, man, and no longer suffering. And again, to anybody going through anything of that sort, please reach out to somebody or call 988. With that being said, I just wanted to get this message out there in hopes that it reaches somebody that needs to hear it. Much love and respect, everybody. Until next time, deuces.